NMU Board Vice Chair resigns.
First student count of the school year, I'm Ann Ludwig.
And I'm Todd Rose. Thank you for joining us today here on Public Eye News. The Vice Chair of the NMU Board of Trustees, Tavis Smiley, has announced his resignation effective immediately. Smiley's reasoning for his resignation, however, is for a good cause. Smiley said he was unable to complete his duties as Vice Chair, which would have been an 8-year term, because he was named Associate Administrator for NASA Science Mission Directorate. Starting October 3rd, Smiley assumed his position in Washington, D.C. Smiley was initially appointed to the NMU Board by Governor Rick Snyder in 2013, and this year was elected as Vice Chair by his fellow trustees. Although the project is not completely set in stone, work has already begun in preparing a site for a possible Meijer store location here in Marquette. Excavation crews have started working on taking down a hill behind the Lowe's store in Marquette Township. The excavation site is the planned site of the Meijer store, which is where work has been ongoing since the plans were approved by the township in June.
Yesterday was a very important day across the state of Michigan for public schools, as it was the first student count day of the school year. About 90% of the state funding is based on the amount of kids that are enrolled in state and the first student count day. According to Munising Public Schools Superintendent Principal Pete Kelto, a majority of districts across the Michigan receive $7,511 per student for the school year. A second student count day takes place on February 8th, 2017, and about 10% of state funding is based on the spring count. Embezzlement charges are dropped for McKillen husband and wife. Thomas Gendon and Michelle Gendon are free of their charges. Thomas was charged with conspiracy to commit embezzlement of $100,000 or more. Michelle was charged with embezzlement of $1,000 or more as well. The pair was arrested after an investigation into Michelle taking money from Pickleman's Petro between 2011 and 2015. The case could reopen because the charges were dismissed without prejudice.
A recall of several items has been announced by Guernsey Farms Dairy after reporting failure of equipment used to verify proper pasteurization. The Guernsey Farms Dairy recall affects the following products: skim milks gallon with the code date of October 20th, quarts and half gallons of eggnog with the date of October 20th, half gallons of 0.5% milk with the date of October 11th, 48-ounce size butter pecan ice cream, and 48-ounce size French vanilla ice cream. Those who are in possession of any of these items are advised to dispose of them or return them to the store for a replacement. And the University of Michigan announced a brand new university-wide diversity program today. The new diversity program, which the university has committed $85 million in new resources in an effort to make the university more diverse and inclusive. The program was announced today after a year-long grassroots planning effort. Vice Provost for Diversity, Equity, and Academic Affairs, Rob Sellers, who hosted the unveiling event, said, quote, "We know that creating this ideal climate won't happen overnight, but I'm proud that the university is committed to making this campus more diverse, equitable, and inclusive," end quote. And after this break, we'll have your news from around the world and the country.
California became the first state in the nation to set an aggressive minimum wage mandate. Politicians keep weighing in with contradictory, often untested claims.
It's not a function of whether it's right or wrong. It's whether it works or doesn't work.
It feels personal because the small business owners are not the 1% of the 1%.
When everybody has more money, they spend more money.
Getting Ahead with Tavis Smiley.
Friday at 9 after Charlie Rose the Week on Public TV 13.
And welcome back. This week, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported a spike in mysterious polio-like illness. From January 1st to August 31st, 50 people in the 24 states were diagnosed with acid-flaccid myelitis, or AFM for short, and most of the cases are in children. Similar to polio, AFM affects the body and nervous system, specifically the spinal cord, and can cause paralysis. Unlike polio, there is no vaccine for AFM. Scientists don't know the exact cause of the illness, but they think it is most likely the result of a viral infection. And Florida is preparing for a possible direct hit from the Hurricane Matthew later tonight. The storm is packing dangerous winds up to 140 miles per hour as it batters with the Bahamas. CBS News correspondent Marley Howell is in Daytona Beach with the latest.
A sign on a boarded-up building says closed for business as Hurricane Matthew approaches Florida. Forecasters say Matthew has strengthened once again to a monster Category 4 storm.
This is serious.
The governor is concerned about the storm's powerful winds and storm surge. More than 1.5 million people in the storm's path have been told to evacuate.
There are no excuses. You need to leave. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate.
Storm preparations continued across Florida. Shelves are empty. Officials issued hurricane warnings and watches from Florida to South Carolina. Here in Daytona Beach, streets are empty. Most people have evacuated, but across the state, 1,500 National Guard troops have been called up just in case. Matthew hit the Bahamas this morning, packing winds up to 125 miles per hour. Roads are littered with debris. Matthew devastated parts of Haiti. Poorly constructed homes are completely gone. People waded through knee-deep high water trying to reach higher ground. Government officials say this is the worst humanitarian crisis since the 2010 earthquake. Marley Hall, CBS News, Daytona Beach, Florida.
17 members of an alleged global trafficking ring were charged with bringing hundreds of women from Thailand to the United States for commercial sex purposes. An indictment which was unsealed this week accuses 12 Thai nationals and 5 Americans of being involved in a sophisticated scheme that recruited women, which dates back to 2009. The presidential campaigns are talking about Syria and what they would do with the embattled country. Craig Boswell is at the White House with that story and the latest from the campaign trail.
Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence says he and Donald Trump agree military force may be needed to create a safe place for Syrian refugees within their own country.
We absolutely should be prepared to use military force to establish and preserve the safe zones and the ability for people to safely evacuate out of those areas.
But Russia is working with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, and they say any military strike on Syrian forces puts Russian troops at risk. Donald Trump repeated his claim Wednesday that he wants to work with Russia.
If we got along with Russia and Russia went out with us and knocked the hell out of ISIS, that's okay with me, folks. That's okay with me.
Hillary Clinton wants to establish a no-fly zone over Syria, a country where Russian planes routinely carry out bombing attacks on behalf of the Assad regime.
We know that they are deeply engaged in supporting Assad because they want to have a place in the Middle East.
Syria is just one of the questions that may come up during Sunday night's presidential debate, something both candidates are preparing for. Clinton spent time at her Washington, D.C. home doing debate prep Wednesday. She heads to New York today to attend a fundraiser. Tim Kaine is taking her place on the campaign trail.
We feel good about where we are now, but we're just going to really push for the next 33 days.
Trump will campaign in New Hampshire tonight. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
And stay tuned because after the break, we'll have your weather and sports.
Up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday after This American Land on Public TV 13.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Public Eye News. I'm Eric Shapiro with a look at your weather. As you can see behind me, it's a beautiful day to enjoy those beautiful fall colors, but make sure you get out there and enjoy them before it changes. Right now it's partly cloudy skies with a temperature of 67, winds south-southwest at 7 miles an hour, and a barometric pressure of 30.12 inches and rising. Tonight we'll see some thunderstorms with a low of 58 and winds south-southeast at 12 miles an hour. And tomorrow, the rain will continue with a high of 63 and winds west-southwest at 15 miles an hour. Now let's take a look at the weather across the UP. Here in Sault Ste. Marie, it's 66 and mostly sunny. Same with Manistee, and here in Escanaba, it's 65 and sunny, and down here in Menominee, it's 68. Over here in Iron Mountain, it's 67 and mostly sunny. Here in Ironwood, it's 62 and sunny. Here in Houghton, it's 63 and sunny, and back here in Marquette, it's 67 and mostly sunny. So now let's take a look at your weather ahead. Saturday, we'll have a high of 53, low of 40, and mostly cloudy. Sunday, we'll have a high of 56, low of 47, and partly cloudy. And Monday, we'll have a high of 68, low of 54, and some sunny skies. So, Todd, it looks like our weekend might be a little cloudy. So if people are staying indoors, I hear you have a pretty good game that NMU's in.
Yeah, that's right, Eric. The Northern Michigan hockey team begins their regular season this weekend with a series against the Wisconsin Badgers. The Wildcats and Badgers will face off at the Resch Center in Green Bay tomorrow and Saturday with puck drop each night at 8 p.m. Wisconsin holds a 47, 29, and 8 advantage in the all-time series, but Northern Michigan has won 7 of the past 15 meetings. Leading point producers against the Badgers on the current Wildcat team are Dominic Shine and Shane Sooth with 4 points each, and Gerald Hansen, who has 3 points. Over to the world of baseball, the last time the Toronto Blue Jays and Texas Rangers faced each other, a punch was thrown and a brawl ensued. The two teams continue their rivalry with a 5-game series in the American League Division Series starting today. Starting for the Blue Jays is Marco Estrada, who had a 9-9 record with a 3.48 ERA in the regular season. Cole Hamels will start for the Rangers. In the regular season, Hamels went 15-5 with a 3.32 ERA. First pitch is in about 15 minutes at 4:30 on TBS from Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. And week 5 of the NFL season starts tonight with a matchup of two teams who are under the 500 mark. The Arizona Cardinals travel to Santa Clara, California to face the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams are 1-3 this season. Arizona's starting quarterback, Carson Palmer, has been ruled out of tonight's game due to concussion protocol, so backup quarterback Drew Stanton will get the start. The 49ers, however, have a different quarterback situation. Blaine Gabbert has just a 73.1 passer rating this season and is trying to keep his starting job from Colin Kaepernick. Kickoff is at 8:25 tonight on CBS. So, Ann, a lot of sports going on, but I hear there might be some Bigfoot mischief going on as well. What's this I hear about that?
Yeah, let me tell you about it. Bigfoot may have been spotted on a live camera mounted on a tree to capture a state fish hatchery. The video clip was captured in the month of May. Idaho State University professor Jeff Meldrum tells us, quote, "The video is interesting but doesn't offer much of the way of compelling evidence," end quote. And a young bull moose has been talking in sights of Bismarck, North Dakota. The moose is around a year old and has drawn crowds wherever he goes. The animal likely wandered into the city from a nearby communities of Baldwin or Mackenzie. Well, that's pretty crazy, seeing a bull and then Bigfoot being seen.
Yeah, you know, you never know what you're going to see. I mean, you might be walking down the street, next thing you know, you see a bull moose walking next to you. You never know.
Even Bigfoot.
Or Bigfoot. You never know.
But, you know, you would think you would see more of Bigfoot if he was actually in the UP because of all the hunters' cameras.
Yeah, I think if Bigfoot was real, that would be the case. So, well, thanks for joining us today, and make sure to join us again tomorrow on Public Eye News.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.